A very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen, good evening viewers. I'm Matthias Aufiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Evening Review Show. We're joined in studio tonight by the mayor of the capital, Windhoek, that is Ms. Sadé Gawanas. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Matthias. How are you?
Very well. It's a pleasure to have you here on this chilly evening.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah?
Under the circumstances.
Under the circumstances.
But yeah.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here. Well, you've been making headlines the past 24 hours. The ordeal with the police.
Yeah.
You've had a press conference earlier this morning. Your party, of course, the Landless People's Movement. Well, how has things played out since the incident yesterday?
It's a horrible experience, and I think more for someone that is not in a position of power, that is given at least a security to take care of her. She's a mayor. She's recognized as the mayor. There are certain processes and policies followed, so I have that sort of protection because I'm in this position. However, it becomes a different story when it is an individual on the street. They don't get the same treatments in when they go to the, to lay, lay charges against Namibian Police for brutality, for disrespect, for intimidation, for victimization. That I can say it's not the same, simply because you're in a position of power. For the ordinary person, would they be treated with the same attitude that I was treated at the police station? No, they wouldn't, because once everybody knew it was the mayor, everybody started running around.
Yeah.
From the highest rank, you have someone go look at this, go do this. For me, what was it's a fortunate but unfortunate situation is that fortunate because they didn't know who I was and they treated me the way they treated me, meaning that is the way they treat civilians on the streets. Unfortunate because I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a sister. The reality strikes when we, like they say, experience is the best teacher, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yesterday was horrible. The whole experience and ordeal was horrible. I think I'm still in shock. I still can't fathom that it's the Namibian Police. It's someone that when I growing up would look up and would want to say, these are the people that are out there protecting us, taking care of us. But do you want to know exactly how it happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm sure that's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah, that's
we've read about it and we've heard about it, but we have you here now. So for the benefit of the public, please give us a brief narration as to how it started.
For me, it is important to be on the ground and to be able to visualize what people are going through. If they complain to me, I must be able to go down to them and ask and talk to them face to face, ask them what is going on. Because remember, I'm as the head of council, running the organization together with all other 14 councillors. I understand the dynamics of the organization. But I must also be able to go understand the problems that our people are facing and be able to bring this two together so that the organization then delivers a service to the residents and hear them out as to what they're saying is their concern or is their issue. So for me, that is very important, to bring them together to provide services. So I was in the informal settlements yesterday. I'm talking to the residents, basically being told this and that is the problem. And then at some point, we had walked very far from where we had parked. So I had asked my driver. My driver is also my personal security because he's a sergeant at the city police. So they are under protocol, mandated to be there with me wherever I go. So I had asked him, Constable Swartz, please go and go get the car. Don't worry. He even stood and he's like, no, Your Worship. And I said, no, don't worry. I'll be fine because I am with the community. You know, nothing is going to happen. So he obviously hesitantly left. We were standing at the turn. A police car came swifting in, turning on high speed into the turn, and we jumped out of the road because this car would have hit one of us. And one of the residents that was standing by my side did this and shouted to the police officers, which they saw perhaps in their rearview mirrors, and they stopped immediately and reversed back. And what then transpired is one of them rolled down the windows, and he just started shouting at the resident. This is the elderly man, started shouting at the resident. Yeah, why are you in the in the road? And then that was when I intervened and said, but as a police officer, you cannot be speaking to a resident like this. Yeah, he jumped off the car. The one that was sitting by on the left-hand side, jumped off with his AK-47. The other one came around the car. It's like, yeah, who do you think you are? Who are you? And I said, no, I'm Sadé Gawanas. I'm the mayor of the city of Windhoek, and I'm doing my community work. He said, yeah, I don't care who you are. He used vulgar language, which is they're screaming and going on. Now, you could see that this person was coming from a area of anger and frustration and, trying to, ego, whatever it is where he was coming from. He was not in the right frame of mind. And obviously a confrontation happened there. He pulled me by my hand, basically trying to get me to physical altercation happened there. There was also a time that I fell backwards and I hurt my knee, and they literally arrested me at that time. I tried giving my mobile phone to the other resident to take videos and to record. One of the police officers stopped them from doing that. And they basically scuffled me up, had handcuffs on me, throwing me, and threw me in the car. One of them, he actually pushed me on my butt as he's trying to get me into the van. There were 5 men and a woman sitting in the van, and they then locked up. They were still swearing because the other two, the residents that I was with, was trying to stop the whole situation from happening. So he was also swearing at them. He was using vulgar language towards them as well. Yeah, who does she think she is? Even if she's the mayor, I don't care. And he kept on going. We drove off, and as we're driving off, my driver was then driving past the vehicle. We drove to another house, dropped off the woman that was sitting in the van, and then we drove to another house. It was basically in the same area. And then that is where I think my driver was then advised by the people that were down there that they just loaded her worship, and then he came afterwards. He asked them numerous times to release me and to get me out of the car. They didn't want to do that. He then identified himself as Constable Swartz, showed his badge, and told them to release because I'm under his protection. Only then, when they saw the official car and they saw him identifying himself, did they release me. And then obviously that whole video where I was very upset and angry. And then basically from there on, we went to the police station and laid a charge. Yeah.
You spoke earlier of the manner which the police treats the ordinary persons, and you said it's actually good from the start that they didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
Does this perhaps speak about the current ongoing tension between the community and the police? Not just the Namibian police, the city police, which you also are head of.
Yeah.
Do you think it speaks to that, as to why the community is also sometimes hesitant to assist the police when it comes to crime and so on?
Yes, absolutely. There's a whole different dynamics in this. Firstly, we need to ascertain the mental status of our police officers and our city police. These people on a daily basis are traumatized, they themselves. Do they get thorough training? Do they get the necessary wellness support? Do we look into their well-being as people that are on the streets daily? You can never deny that a frustrated police officer on the street will not disregard a civilian. He will if he's frustrated, if he's angry, if he's got he's emotionally unstable. So you have a police sector who doesn't get proper training, who doesn't get proper wellness. You have this issue, this big issue, literally hanging over literally all Namibians, whether it's in the health sector, whether it's in the security sector, you have a problem. Secondly, the police brutality is something that we cannot deny. It has been there. There have been reports of people that have been killed by police, even when they are not armed. Police have been beating our people, police have been harassing our people, police have been intimidating our people. Yeah. How do you think the residents are going to respond, civilians are going to respond? They do not trust the Namibian police. They do not trust, for example, the city police because of the way they are being treated. There is no protection for them just as a normal civilian. Yeah. It's fear, it's intimidation, it's threatening people, and they are victimized. A lot of these people do not even go make a case and have verdicts, where you see police officers honestly being dealt with according to the law. Yeah. It's like a brotherhood that is protected, and we know how brotherhoods work. We know how the biggest. They even say that the biggest cabal, are the police officers, the biggest gangsters. So you obviously, yes, you have a big situation.
Okay.
You have a time bomb.
Yeah, of course. You are a politician. Of late, there's been a trend, whether subtle or not, of arrests of activists and opposition of leaders. Are we exaggerating to even suggest that there is an attack on dissenting voices in Namibia?
Yes, you can see when people speak up and when people are acting. And you must also remember that people have been speaking for years. We've been saying, subtly people have been saying, but you're at a point now in time where someone is going to literally attack a police officer. You are at a point where civilians feel that they have nothing else but to protect themselves. And
how did we get there?
How did we get there? How did we get there? How do we get to a point where activists, for example, stand up and say, this is wrong, and for saying this is wrong, they are being arrested? When is it? When did we pass that boundary? When did we leave that position of freedom of speech? People are able to stand up for themselves. People must be protected. People must be protected from violence. Where did it all go wrong to the point that now when we are speaking up against injustices, we are being arrested, we are being intimidated, we are being victimized? Where did it all go wrong? And where do you think it all went wrong? If police stop protecting each other, if police stop protecting their corrupt practices, if police are held accountable for their actions, don't you think it would be a better situation? Why just arrest? Why just intimidate? What is the problem that we are talking about that police are supposed to be attending to?
Yeah. So what are you doing as mayor and de facto also head of the city police? What are you doing to ensure that as a community, the residents of Windhoek feel guarded when they see a city police car? What are you doing? What programs have you put in place? You mentioned earlier on the wellness of officers, all those things.
Yes.
What is in place on the city side?
We haven't, for myself, I think we have underestimated the psychological and mental abuse that city police officers are also undergoing, not just by the events that they see, but also by the people that they are supervised by their constables, their sergeants, their superintendents. So it is also a hierarchy problem in fact. What the city of Windhoek has always had the wellness programs for city police officers, but I don't think that we're really addressing the issues of mental and psychological help for our officers in uniform, emergency as well as city police. And I think we have to start having that conversation. Even though there are policies on paper, it's not the same in practice. So we are looking in the wellness of our uniformed officers. We're looking at what are the issues of sexual harassment, because we remember there was a culture survey also done at the city. We have to look at all of these issues and address the policies and the wellness programs at the city of Windhoek to be able to deal with the traumas that, literally you would say traumas, that police officers, city police are going through. Yeah. Obviously, they are when people are abusing their positions of power. You have people that there are situations where people have to use sex as an opportunity to be promoted.
Yeah. Has there been any official reports to that effect?
Yes, there are official reports.
And how are those being dealt with?
Unfortunately, if it's a brotherhood, let's protect each other. We are protecting each other, right? So how are we going to do this? And it's a whole system, a dirty sort of system protecting each other and doing this, and it's just a nasty game at it, nasty way of doing things. It's a system. Let me just say it's a system of how it's been done, protecting each other. Yeah.
Okay. Your Worship, thank you for that. We'll just go for a short break and we'll be back to continue this conversation. To our viewers, problem. Don't move an inch. Well, welcome back from the short break. Your Worship, let's continue our conversation. You are one of the councillors who really pushed for the return of certain powers and functions of the city police into the main fold of the city of Windhoek, the municipality. It was the legal, HR
and finance. Yes.
How far is that process? It's been long coming, but nothing seems to be moving.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you would always have to repeatedly. You know, the problem that we in actual fact having with the city of Windhoek is the position of the CEO. If you're not going to fill the position, who are you going to hold accountable? You have to fill the position so that each other subordinate that falls down from the CEO is held accountable. The acting chief, the chief of the city police, he reports to the CEO. Now, if you have a person from 6 months to 6 months just going on, who are you holding accountable? Because you would write a memo to Mr. Mambelo. 6 months later, you'll write a memo to Ms. Kumali. 6 months later, you're writing a letter to Mr. Heakanja. And there are so many other issues that this technocrats also have to deal with, that you can't just keep on. So implement, we took a resolution last year. HR, legal and finance needs to report back to head office. You can't have a head office within a head office. So the city police is running their own HR, finance and legal. And we said, no, it does not work like that, because the whole organization must be handled with one HR, one finance and one legal department.
So what are they telling you? Why do they need this arrangement to be in place?
Well, you have all the police regulations that are coming in. You've got all other issues. But I'm sure that the council wouldn't have taken the decision if there was anything limiting us not to take that decision. We took that decision. All it needs to be done is to be implemented. HR needs to come back to the head office. Legal needs to come back. Finance needs to come back, so that we can audit and understand what has been going on in the city police. What exactly has been going on is what we want to find out. But obviously, there are all other issues that do not, it's not back at the city yet.
So what is delaying the appointment of a CEO for the city?
I will be very plain and honest with you. Politics.
Why is that?
Why
you and your team have been elected to serve, not to play politics.
Yes, it's not necessarily we playing politics. It's politics being played by every single person that can play politics. Now, this is the thing that we need to look at. As the council chairperson, what powers do I have? What does management committee have? If you look at the Local Authorities Act, all of us have a delegated function of power. And all of us need to streamline that responsibility, accountability, and responsibility to be able to make a decision. Why is it taking so long, you ask me?
Yeah.
I told you what it is.
And I know that there was an issue of saying that a few months back that because of irregularities, the process needs to be restarted. Has it been restarted? We didn't see it re-advertised.
Management committee must report to council. Management committee must be able to tell council, this is how far the process is. The technocrats must be able to advise. The SEC, strategic executive, because you've got different levels. So the strategic executives must be able to inform management committee, this is how far we are. But management committee as well as council should not interfere in the process of the recruitment. Even though we have certain how would I put it, not necessarily powers to intervene. We can oversee sort of the process, but just we shouldn't interfere with the process. And that whole process was interfered with. However, it was interfered with. And we have to investigate, was the process interfered with in order for the process to restart, the recruitment process. I personally do not think that the process should be restarted. But within the statutory powers of MC did not resolve to recommend anyone. Now, when MC does that resolution, MC must report to council. MC then was not given the opportunity to do so. At council meeting, I then made sure that MC reports. Once MC reported, council had to note. Council then didn't note because that meeting then just ended abruptly. I'm sure you saw on social media.
The one where you said the councillors
they must note. It is just the standing rules of order is that when MC reports, the MC is saying we are resolving not to recommend. Good. Okay, council has taken note of it. What then is going to happen is that there are rules that say that if council is aggrieved or does not agree to what has happened, and that opportunity was not given in the council meeting, we as councillors had to now look at why are they saying that they're not resolving, why are they not recommending, and then this concern would have then been raised via the proper channels that are there. It's right to the chairperson of council that this is the problem that we as council is having, and then right to the acting CEO, so that there's an investigation launched into the irregularities that are being alleged into the appointment of the CEO.
Okay.
So that process was not followed.
Yeah, Your Worship, with all due respect, as the political head of the city,
Yes.
The buck stops with you in this regard.
Yes, it does.
Do you have a set deadline to say, by the time I leave this seat, there must be a substantive CEO?
Yes.
Is there a deadline?
Yes, there is a deadline.
What is the
there's
deadline?
definitely.
To what deadline can we hold you accountable?
You see, the process, last year, the process took about 2-3 months. And the process actually ended already in November 2021. All that had to happen was we had to note, and then either the process restart or we challenged that. And we could have challenged that. Unfortunately, that was delayed. So I can literally tell MC, Management Committee, and I can also tell Council that we need to sort it out. And I have stipulated that in the month of July, at our next, I want it to be finalized so that we decide, are we going to fight what Council has, but it's statutory powers also. So you have to look at the power dynamics. So I have said that by end of July, we should have concluded. We must have concluded this issue so that we can leave at least 2022 with a accountable officer in office.
Yeah, because the current alignment within council, of course, you guys have the power to take decisions.
We have.
So how is it that you are aligned, but you still say there are these disruptions that are going on?
Look, if, for example, Councillor Amupanda, within his right, honestly, had written a submission. That submission cannot come to the council 15 minutes before a council meeting. I needed time to read that. And he had written to the minister as well. There's no problem with the submission itself, because it is founded on what he had experienced previously, and he is also saying there were no irregularities in whatever happened. So we need to give its due time to deal with that submission. We have to look at the submission, but these are all supposed to be done at least within the right channels of what we come through is right to the chairperson deal with the matter, but it didn't happen, and that is what makes it difficult. It's just how it has been done and not necessarily what has been done.
You mentioned earlier on that you don't think the process should be restarted. Have you taken that up with your counterparts whom you are in alignment with on the council?
We have had a discussion. Because
IPC, is of course.
Yes,
and what is their view?
IPC feels they must. They want to restart the process. Remember, MC, Management Committee, has got firstly, remember that last year, this decision was already taken. So you had Councillor Mupanda and Keister and IPC and NUDO as the management committee. So this decision was already made. So what we're literally basically doing is we just have to implement. But if there is a fight in between that says, management committee can't do this, we have to look at the legal consequences of these actions. So I have sat down and we have spoken and we've said, what is the issue with employing? What is it that we can't just continue with the process? And I think that is also the same sentiments that SWAPO has. Let us start off where the irregularities and fix the irregularities where it's been mentioned, and then deal with the matter and move on. But it's just here, there, and everywhere. People don't want to really deal with the matter at hand.
So, for the first time, of course, we need to give you the benefit of the doubt. There's been so many different political parties on council. Normally, it's about 3 or 4 parties on council. So, as residents of Windhoek, what should people conclude when considering the delay of the appointment of a CEO? Is it that the councillors don't want to work together for the good of the city? Or is it the thing of, if it's not my way, it's no one's way? Or what should the residents conclude? And after that, kindly also give us your closing remarks for this interview.
Yeah, we're just not getting each other. We are walking past each other, and all other interferences. I think the city of Windhoek currently has a very good council. They do. It's a matter of sitting, discussing, and getting a way forward. But getting that way forward always seems to have a problem, you know, sitting together. And people should not conclude that we have failed. We haven't failed. It's a matter of we honestly need to start looking at service delivery of our residents, put ourselves in the shoes of the residents that require the services, and ask ourselves, are we really working for the residents, or are we working for our egos, and are we working to get whatever say we want to get and how? Are we really there for our residents? And I think that is a conversation that we must have with ourselves. Yeah. I don't even like asking for time and saying that we are going to fix this, and people are just at a stage where they are frustrated and they don't want to hear excuses, they just want to see results. Yes. They want services done, yeah. Whether it's appointing a CEO, whether it's implementing the city police, HR, finance. People literally just want us to go there and do our jobs, finish and clap.
Your Worship?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time today, and we wish you well.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you very much to our viewers. That's it from the Evening Review team. See you again tomorrow, same time, same place.